We do a lot of bagger stuff. That's a nasty machine, just a full custom. And then we built this thing in 2017, I think, when the bobber first dropped.
It's so rad looking. This thing is cool.
It sounds nasty too. I'm gonna fire this thing up for you because
baggers. They used to be all about comfort, convenience, and longer rides. But now it's way more than that. They're like muscle cars. They gotta look great, and they gotta perform. Scraping floorboards, doing burnouts, hell, they're even racing them in Crowning Kings. But when it comes to style and performance, there's no such thing as enough. Even the Chieftain Power Plus. All the style and performance that you'd ever need, but we still want more.
So Sascha Kraus is probably one of the coolest builders, makes some of the baddest parts. Dude is super smart, he's so technical, like the stuff he envisions, the parts that he makes, it's next level stuff. And for me to be able to be a part of that and see that, I'm like, this dude has always built cool stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting out to his place and seeing what his build is gonna come out like.
What up, dude?
What's going on, buddy?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for showing up,
Hell
man.
yeah, I've been wanting to check this place out.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to showing you. From as long as I can remember, it was about motorcycles. Before I knew how to draw, I was trying to draw motorcycles. And so there's this really interesting thing about motorcycles and passion and how they just grab us. That was me. That's all I could think about when I was young. And, you know, just continued to develop my passion over the years. I really started getting into the kind of custom bike and chopper scene in the late 90s, early 2000s. I just really loved the passion of the craftsmen that were in the scene at that time. These guys that were working with their two hands and ripping motorcycles and, you know, that nasty, you know, on a rigid, just, you know, and I just love that. And it just felt like a huge amount of passion coming from these people. And then the craftsmanship that was happening, metal shaping and working with your two hands and machining parts on a lathe or on a mill, you know, taking that bike and then tuning it, adjusting it and making it yours. I always thought that that was super interesting. Kraus Moto kind of developed over the years organically. It came from bike building, and then we got to a place where it was like, hey, there's a lot of people that want what we're doing and we can only build so many bikes. And so we started thinking about a product line. We started thinking about, hey, how can we get more kind of what we're doing out into the world? Let's start to develop product. Let's start to develop things that we can build and multiple people can get them on their bikes. Kraus Motor Co. is a aftermarket product company driven by precision, and we decided, you know what, let's do this right here. Let's get the right machines, let's get the right crew, let's get the right abilities so that we can produce right here in-house. And that's really differentiated Kraus. So this is like our main manufacturing facility, right? We have another facility up in Cedar City, which we do all of our post-op, all of our anodizing. But this is where we're cutting all the billet, right? Yeah. And making all the parts. So
how many machines do you have here?
17 on the floor, 17 spindles, yeah. And they're running lights out. Like, these are some of our main verticals, and then we got lathes as well.
Yeah.
So it all comes in billet stock. We use billet bar, right? All American metal. And then it'll get chopped up on the auto saw, and then we just head down the line and start cutting parts. I'll show you some of the stuff. So basically we start from this, right? Just chunk of billet aluminum. You know, these things like big, small, whatever, size of the parts. And it'll go in one of these machines, so you get a part out that looks like that. Basically like half cut. Something like this, you got more operations. So this is a triple tree, right? We take really good care on tooling lines and programming. Really, we integrate all the tooling lines into the design.
I like that.
To enhance it. So not only the exterior and all the cuts and everything, but the way we're cutting it and what tools we're using and stuff like that. It makes such a,
like that.
You've run these,
Yep.
This is the front section of our MaxLean floorboard. When you receive it, it's exactly what it comes out of the machine.
That's crazy.
The old days of like hand polishing and having a room full of like 12 buffing wheels and people just going at it, like,
it's too time consuming.
and that's what, you know, in American manufacturing, we have to compete. You can order stuff from overseas, junk from China, whatever, and it's just like, you can't beat the pricing, but
No.
it's junk. Little, you know, isolated risers, right? That's
Yep,
like
yeah,
our
that's
main
what-
midsection. So that, this machine almost only runs isolated risers. That's how many of these we do.
No way.
We just turn them out. This is a section to an adjustable handlebar.
Yep.
And so we're building the adjustable handlebar setup for that new bike.
That's right.
And so we're gonna use these knuckles on it and then just do some different bends for that.
Yep. That's bitchin'.
For that new
Then you
Chieftain.
can, like, you don't like your certain bend, you can just swap it out.
Exactly.
Not have to change everything out.
Yep, yep. Make
People
a little,
like
a
that.
little adjustment in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's another 5-axis pallet machine. So this is a lights out machine as well. This will just run through the night. 20,000 RPM spindle. This thing rips. I'd love to have a line of these.
Yeah,
They're like,
right?
you know, $500,000
I
bucks.
love how
but
you write all your settings on the.
yeah, like keep it simple, man.
You
Keep
don't need
it
a piece
simple,
of paper, you
dude.
lose that. Write it on the machine here.
Exactly. This machine will run like 20, 27 hours at a time.
That's so rad.
It's crazy how much you can do at night
Yeah.
when nobody's
exactly,
here.
Yeah.
That's how it's done, man.
I
When
was-
nobody's around.
I always knew you had a gnarly setup, but I didn't know it was this gnarly. But
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is rad.
Yeah, most
This is
people
cool to
are
see.
kind of like, they know about the brand, they know about Kraus, but they don't really know what's going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
They
you
don't know you're making parts while you're sleeping.
Exactly, that's the way. Originally saw Forge when it first came out. All the builders of the Forge series, they're all my friends. So, you know, when I got the call and like, hey, we want you to do this, for me it was like a revival because it flashed back to those days of bike building and being able to sit and focus on something and really create a complete composition. So for me, it's in that place, it's exciting to get back into it and kind of bring up those old feelings.
What do you got going on with these bags over here?
Kind of chop this thing up a little bit. You know, I like fixed fairings, like the Challenger,
Yep.
just because they handle so good, right?
Yes.
You don't get any wind push or anything like that. But I like the tightness of this fairing. The whole thing with this build is push in the rear and make it even more compact, tighten it all up.
Yep.
You know, I bring in bars, like a lot of the bars we run are much more narrow. And it just gives you more control over that thing. The
Yeah.
whole thing is tighter. So we chop this off. You know, we got to be able to rip wheelies too and not drag the bags. So we'll scan it and then we'll make a rear section. We'll
Yeah.
3D print a rear section. So instead of the old days of like getting out the fiberglass and the cardboard and like,
Do it all.
we'll just 3D print a section. We'll like glue it in there basically, tie it in, and then it'll go to paint. Haven't figured out quite what to do with the rear fender, but we're gonna chop that down and shorten
You have
it
to
up a
have
little
that
bit.
Look of like if you're cutting the bags, you gotta cut that, but you also don't want to get it too short. Like
It's all gotta
it's a
tie
fine
together.
line.
The thing is, we're trying to do stuff that it almost feels like it would come out of the factory that way.
Yes.
The OEM Indian built the bike that way, right? Just
The
the
bike's
little
already good, so
tweaks.
you just want to put your little.
Just the styling tweaks, a little bit of adjustment into the ergonomics. The thing is, the technology on these things, we got inverted forks, we got, you know, Brembo brakes, we got good suspension.
Everything is already so.
it's
good, like
already
you
there.
said, out of the crate. It's just putting your little touch on it
Yeah,
for whoever rides it.
Exactly.
That's what's cool. That's what's fun about these bikes, and that's what's cool too. Like with you, and there's only a few you guys actually making aftermarket parts for these bikes that are really good parts. So it's cool to see that it's finally growing.
yeah. I mean, that's our big thing is like, dude, we want to push hard on this stuff so that, you know, guys who go into that shop and go, you know what, I'm looking at that bike right there, they know that there's an aftermarket for it. They
Exactly.
know they can tweak it, right?
They can see
They're
someone's bike and know they can go buy those same exact parts for that bike that
Yeah,
they're going to go.
yeah.
I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. I'm really excited to see.
It'll be fun, man. I like this new Chieftain Power Plus because the fairing is tucked in to the center of the bike more and, you know, tighter around the forks and tighter around the neck area and the bar area. I think it gives a real kind of tight feel to the thing. I think the look of the bike is great. It has a really nice flow to it. When we take a bike like this, which is already so good off the showroom floor, you know, you can get on this bike and have a great experience. not change anything. As far as like what I want to do to this bike, it's really ergonomics. It's really about getting the bike to fit me as an individual and getting me comfortable with the bike so that I can have more confidence in the motorcycle. As we know, the heart and soul of any motorcycle, motor. This Power Plus kind of changed the game quite a bit. Overhead cam, liquid cooled, the smoothness of it is what stands out most. It really just like allows you to use the power at the right moments. I think when I got on it and started to feel the dynamics of the bike, I started to realize that, hey, Indian Motorcycle's onto something with this platform. You know, really for us, this is the ultimate setup to do a build like this. We get to develop products that are gonna go on our build, and then we're gonna take those products and we're gonna put them into production and make them available to everybody. You're gonna be able to go into your dealership and, you know, pick up a bike and get a hold of Kraus and bolt on things that are completely gonna change your experience on that bike. And that's what I'm really excited about. That's where the passion is. That's what it's all about.